Good afternoon. Quick update here on the build. I do have the new heat exchanger hooked up. The pool water is coming out the right-hand side out of a small 1/2 inch ID tube. That's actually feeding the heat exchanger. That is being tapped after the filter and ahead of the chlorinator. So it is the least chlorinated water from the pool, and it is the cleanest water from the pool. It's straight out of the filter through a sand filter. You can see in the picture, it's about as clean as it's going to get. And the pool's kept pretty clean, so there's no organic growth in there either. And then after that, it goes to the chlorinator. There's also a one-way valve you barely see in the picture. Just wanted to show that the basic configuration. This is the way to do it. There's actually a valve ahead of the pool tap that's feeding the heat exchanger, so I can throttle the amount of water that's going through the heat exchanger. Now, I had it throttled back pretty far with the old heat exchanger. I've got it wide open right now. A little bit of development here in terms of efficiency and quality of heat exchanger in terms of cooling and heat transfer capability, but I guess it's a trade-off with life. Pretty much what it was before. I've got 3 RTX 3090s, small pump that's feeding coolant to the 3 cards. It's then going out to the heat exchanger outside and then back in through a radiator, which then goes back into the reservoir. Overall, the temperatures in the cooling loop are staying pretty low. One thing I have noticed is the efficiency of the new heat exchanger is not quite as good as the plate heat exchanger that probably wouldn't last very long anyways. Much better heat transfer out of that heat exchanger. This one I am seeing that there's warmer water coming back to the radiator that's then dispensing more heat into the room. I'm not getting that cooling effect, the kind of free air conditioning I was getting before, which is a shame. The air between the cards is currently sitting at about 85 degrees, going through the radiators and coming out the other end. It's at about 86 degrees. A slight temperature rise between the air coming into the radiator and going out of the radiator, meaning this is not cooled air. Overall, not terrible, and there's not enough airflow coming out at 86 degrees to really add any significant heat to the room. Without the heat exchanger from the pool, this room would really heat up. This is still an improvement, or I might try and get another plate type heat exchanger and see what's different from a data standpoint. I've got a 1-gallon jug, and I've got a stopwatch. Everything that I need in order to time that and give you a flow rate. Completely empty. 1, 2, 3. About 30 seconds for a gallon, a little bit over actually. So I'm gonna call that 2 gallons per minute. In case you're wondering about my super fancy $15 for 10 thermometers off of Amazon, they are reading pretty close to each other. I put both of them in the jug. They're both showing 75.2, 75.3. So a 10th degree off. Now they're 75.3. Both of them are 75.3. So at least within a range, the temperatures are pretty darn close. All right, so you want temperatures, you got temperatures. We have 2. One from the pool itself right now, which is at about, in the focus, 72.2 degrees. And from the jug, it's coming from the house, is 75.4. So about a 3-degree rise coming from the heat exchanger, which isn't terribly bad. Obviously, that's not going to be the temperature rise in the pool very quickly, but there is some heat getting into the pool, and any heat is more heat than was there before. So it's doing something. Do I think it's going to be a hot tub? No, but it's something. And it's cooling the GPUs, so an added benefit. I'll show you how I've been able to tune the GPUs for mining as well. That's been working pretty well to almost 120 megahash per second right now. So we've got both systems up and running right now. We're looking at the overview of the dashboard of the mining pool that I'm on. You can see that my current hash for all 5 cards is now up to 610. That's significantly higher than where I was. Average and reported around 603, 591. So right around 600. Specifically looking at the 3 GPUs that are hooked up to the pool right now. I'm also bringing up the EVGA Precision X1 tweaking software. They're all running around 120, just a little bit shy of that. The processors, the GPUs are running at around 40 degrees, 42 to 53 degrees, which is pretty darn nice. That darn EVGA IC3 is still running hot, so I just have regular old air cooling on the backside. So we're looking at 86C, 82, and 96. It's running about as hot as I'd like for it to run, but it's also running within spec. I'm going to give it a try and see what happens if I just leave it at that level. From a standpoint of settings, I'm running at 107%. I know it says 103, but it's as high as the slider will go. For the clock, minus 500, nothing on voltage, and I'm plus 1000 on memory. That should be the same for all 3 cards. I will show you the other computer as soon as it's buttoned up. A little too hacky right now. I'm doing a cooling loop check on it. It's been running for 24 hours now. There are thankfully no leaks. I had a little bit of a problem with leaking coolant last night, which was driving me crazy. Drained everything down, fixed the leaks, got it all back together again. It's been running since last night. If I get 24 hours on it, I'll actually put the covers on and make it look a PC again and not some, well, anyways, what it was. Yeah, other thing I did do, I was playing around with Port Royale last night. I was running scores around 24,000 without the liquid cooling on the chiller, running full bore and tweaking as best as I could. I managed to get it up to 27,400-ish, so call it 27 and a half and change. The leaderboard starts around 28,000, so I'm not that far off in the top 1%. I'd like to get the rest of the way there, but I'm sure stumped as to how to make it any faster. The cooling capacity of the chiller is more than enough to get there. So any comments you have on Port Royale is greatly appreciated. I'll get a video out on that one as soon as I get it put together, and we'll do some benchmarking both for gaming performance, GPU performance, as well as mining. We'll continue to keep an eye on corrosion for the heat exchanger, which I don't think is an issue. Like I said, I may get another one of the cheap heat exchangers just to do a comparison on the thermal efficiency. The one that's best suited for pool water does not seem the best heat exchanger for this job. But this has been fun. I'm going to keep it up. Plenty more to play around with on these systems. Thanks a lot.